Hey everybody, the right therapist here, Nicole Kaufman, coming at you this week. I just had to weigh in as a therapist on Jussie Smollett. Jussie is now in jail, or what is the French word for jail, and he'll be serving I think a 6-month term, 150 days or something like that for jail. And of course, he went out of the courtroom today saying, I did not do it. It was not my fault. And I am not suicidal. I always just presuppose a French accent on poor Jussie. But I thought it would be interesting today to talk about Jussie from a therapist standpoint, because I find this cat fascinating. Okay, let me just say. And so it gives us an opportunity to explore the idea of personality disorders and how a personality disorder might just apply to Jussie. And I definitely think one does. So wanted to talk about today the difference between personality disorders and the rest of the disorders that we know about, like anxiety and depression and the more mental health stuff. So what I want you to imagine, let's get right into it, because I nerd out on this stuff and this totally fascinates me. So what I want you to imagine is two kind of camps, all right? One has the anxiety and the depression kind of camp on one side. Those disorders are defined by symptoms, okay? So when somebody comes to my office and they say, that they think they might be suffering from anxiety and depression, then my questions are usually like, how do you know? What are you thinking or feeling? What is happening for you? How does that show up for you? So anxiety and depression, we might have some panic attacks going on. We might have shortness of breath. We might have rumination, which is a fancy term for overthinking in our head way too much. Depression shows up as not being able to get out of bed, sleeping too much, sleeping too little, eating too much, eating too little, not finding the joy in things that we used to. Depression symptoms show up fairly easily. And in therapy, we treat the symptoms and then the condition improves. So mental health disorders, most of them, can be characterized and their symptoms treated in order for the person to gain some kind of relief. Personality disorders, though, are a whole different kettle of fish. Personality disorders, and there are 10 of them, are defined more by their characteristics, not symptoms. And their characteristics are all about the behaviors that the person exhibits that create trouble in their lives, that create trouble in their relationships. They're absolutely fascinating, personality disorders are, because basically the way that this person does life, that's the disorder. That's the problem. It's their whole approach to life that creates drama and upset and chaos all over the place. So it's not a symptom. It's kind of like how this person is. It is their personality. Okay? So how does this apply to Jussie Smollett? Well, in my estimation, I would say that Mr. Jussie is exhibiting a histrionic personality disorder. Now, way back in the day, we used to call people who had histrionic personality disorder, we used to say that they were hysterical, all right? They were out of hand. They were demonstrating hysteria. They were crazy, all right? But now we call this histrionic personality disorder. So just to give you some real clinical nerdy background update, okay? So this is what they call a cluster B personality disorder, and they are defined by being aggressively helpless, and they're very demanding in their attachment. All right, so they're aggressively helpless. How does this apply to Jussie? Oh my goodness, he faked a whole attack against himself, right? Aggressively helpless. He was very intentional with pulling this scheme together, and in a way that made him appear and come off as a victim, right? And so his excessive or exclusive trait, the core characteristic of being histrionic, is his expressiveness, but he lacks something very fundamental. And you know what it is that he lacks? He lacks shame. And oh my goodness, how evident was this during the entire trial? How evident was this at the sentencing hearing? This man has no shame for the spectacle that he's put on. He cannot even get his arms or his psyche around the idea that he did this to himself, okay? So he views himself as a very fetching person, as aren't I so unique? Aren't I really intriguing and amazing? But he views other people not as just people or unique to themselves, but he views other people as his own admirers. All right. He has an impressionistic view of the world, and he deals with the world by doing what? Performing. All right. This to me is Jussie to a T. And he comes across as very provocative. Oh, look at me. Aren't I something? All right. So in order to diagnose Jussie as histrionic, he would have to meet the following criteria. He would have to have discomfort when he's not the center of attention. He would have to be inappropriately seductive and provocative, which maybe he is. I don't know him in real life, but it would seem that he comes across that way. He has a rapidly shifting and shallow expression of emotion. He has consistent use of a physical appearance to draw attention to himself. Now, he is an attractive man, but he is definitely, leading with that. So I would say that would be pretty consistent for him. His speech would be excessively impressionistic and lacking in detail. Self-dramatizing, theatrical, exaggerated emotional expression. Well, today, I am not suicidal, is how he presented today. So, oh my goodness, he totally checks that box for that criteria. And he is suggestible. He's easily influenced by others or by circumstances. So apparently, he did this such a pathological thing. To me, he impressed himself by how suggestible that this whole performance of this hate crime that he orchestrated to himself and to the world and to the rest of everyone, about how influential that it would be that we were all going to take it just hook, line, and sinker, that he would assume that everybody would just be so duped by his performance, that it was so genuine, and that these cops and that the investigators who investigated the hate crime afterwards would not figure this out, or that his accomplices, the Nigerian twin brothers, that they would be duped as well and not flip on him to the degree that they did, because they totally ratted him out on the rest of the story, on the ruse and the blow by blow direction that he gave these brothers so that they could help him pull this off. And he thought that they were all friends. He thought that these relationships were much more intimate than they actually were, because they totally sold him down the river to the cops in short order. So, there is a thing with personality disorders too. You're usually not just one, okay? Because if you are meeting criteria for a personality disorder, you may show shades of behaviors that are related to other personality disorders. So it is very likely that there is a secondary characteristic or behavior disorder going on of borderline personality disorder in Jussie Smollett. Borderline is basically characterized by excessive emotionality. So I think we've got that covered with him. Narcissistic personality, this whole grandiosity, and the grandiosity that I'm a victim. I think that definitely applies, as you see in this case. And then dependent personality. He is dependent on everyone else believing him and serving up justice on his behalf because he was such a victim. So I think there's some dependent personality disorder there going on too. And that's just one kind of area where he might be dependent upon others for his own identity, for his own decision-making, for what he should do next. And definitely his whole core belief system was dependent on everybody believing that he be a victim in this hate crime that he did unto himself, which is so comical in so many different ways. The most reliable indicator that we have that somebody has histrionic personality disorder is a superficiality of emotional expressiveness. And we saw this play out, didn't we, in some of the interviews that were done, that he so sincerely believed his own lies. And we believe the messages that we tell ourselves. And what's disturbing in this instance to me with Jussie is that when people lie, just regular people, not personality disordered people, but because everybody lies, folks, they do. But most people lie as a way of saving face, as a way to say, no, you do look good in those pants. That does not make her butt look big, right? We've all told that lie. We've all told lies, but we've told lies that we feel are helping someone. We don't usually tell lies in order to hurt somebody. So the idea that he was so pathological and intentional on creating this fiction to put himself in that victim circumstance is really, really fascinating and disturbing. So the major life theme for Jussie, if indeed I have him nailed spot on as a histrionic personality disorder, I would say his major life theme is, I am incompetent to handle life myself, so you must do it for me. So as long as he's viewed as a victim, then he gets to play a certain role. And it's up to the public to decide that he is a victim of this hate crime, right? And that he can play that role consistently for the rest of forever. Because if it were found out that he was indeed the victim of the hate crime, then he doesn't have to do anything else, right? He can be that victim for the rest of forever because he is, just on its face, he is. And so concurrently running with that major life theme is another life theme for histrionic people. And that theme is, I must be loved and admired by everyone, or I am worthless and angry. And how telling was that today for that sentencing hearing when he says, I am not suicidal. And he says it in such an angry tone, right? Because to be suicidal would mean that he feels that he's worthless, right? So how telling was that statement today, y'all? It was, oh my goodness. This was a therapist, just a case study right here on display. So, these people are really classified by their major cognitive errors in functioning. And those are emotional reasoning. So everything is happening because I feel a certain kind of way, right? They have emotional reason, not facts on the ground reasoning. They don't have Ben Shapiro reasoning. Facts don't care about your feelings. It's the other way around. I have feelings, so I'm going to make up facts to support those feelings. That's what emotional reasoning is. Overgeneralization. It is this way just because it is, and it is because I'm just overgeneralizing. I had this noose around my neck. So therefore, I am a victim of a hate crime, and that's what hate crime means is right here. It's an overgeneralization. And then to global thinking. All right. So if I say it's something is this way, then it applies to everyone and everything in the world at large and the United States at large. So I was a victim of this hate crime. So therefore, the United States is a horrible racist culture. That is global thinking, y'all. So typical behaviors in a histrionic person would be an excessive amount of flirting, fishing for compliments, obvious bids for attention. Y'all, obvious bids for attention. Jussie, we see you, honey. We see you. Vague language, oh, they were Trump supporters and they were wearing MAGA hats in sub-zero temperatures in the middle of downtown Chicago in a blizzard. So making scenes, y'all. It just writes itself. The diagnosis just hangs itself like a sandwich board on Jussie Smollett. Killing me, y'all, just killing me. Suicidal gestures, even though they're gestures, nevertheless, you got to take them seriously. Anytime anybody says suicide, you got to take them seriously. But, we're making a scene. Physical complaints. Oh, I think I have a headache. I can't see. Complaints about, I'm hurting all the time. I have these hurts. I just hurt all over. And then temper tantrums. Yes, temper tantrums. That's what we saw today, Jussie. So you know what? You could not be diagnosed. I more accurately, honey. I am so sorry, but I think this is what you are. And here's the thing. You know that you're dealing with this. How do you know when you're dealing with this kind of person, right? Because when we're dealing with people who have personality disorders, they kind of rub us the wrong way. We get a weird feeling. They make us feel kind of icky. So what does that look like? We say that they're just needy all the time. They're just excessively needy. They're showy. They're a superficial person. It's all about the optics. They're overly emotional. It's all about the drama. They're so melodramatic. They're childish. They need attention all the time. They exaggerate. They're always in the gym. It's all about the body and the appearance. They're just irritating. I just don't like to be around them. They're just so irritating. But at the same time, they are also somebody to talk down to you, like you don't know anything. If you are becoming impatient with somebody, that might be somebody who has a personality disorder that borders on histrionic. They just wear you out, right? For lack of a better word. So they do have temper tantrums. Histrionic people have self-destructive acts. They might beat themselves up or have temper tantrums or cut themselves. That's another self-destructive behavior. Now, here's the thing. These people are hard to treat, okay, in terms of a therapist office. We can't really do much with them because they're kind of stuck. These people are kind of stuck. But they do, and we can see that they like to create dramas, emotional blackmail. They like to be the victim, victim to persecuted. You're being mean to me. I'm being persecuted against. Oh my gosh, is this not Jussie spot on or what? And then during the sentence hearing today, he switched it. So these people, these personality disorder people, they love to switch up the drama. And then he goes into victim mode. How could you treat me this way? So victim to persecutor to victim once again. So he has gone all around the board, Jussie has, in that victim, that Cartman's triangle of drama from victim to persecutor, back to victim again. Now he needs somebody to rescue him. He thought the American people would be the ones to rescue him by saying, oh, poor Jussie, you were a victim of a hate crime. So we're going to take care of you for the rest of forever. And we're going to give you roles on B-rated TV shows so that, you can at least say that you're working, even though you're not really all that good at it. So these people, y'all, who are histrionic, they have kind of a childlike neediness. And so that childlike neediness, as an adult, it leads to excessive demands, which then produces whiny and angry responses if they don't get the outcome that they are looking for. So, who are some people that you might recognize on TV or in movies that play these histrionic people? One of them is Miss Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind. All right, I'm going to think about that tomorrow. And we're just so, oh my goodness, we're all drama filled all the time. Miss Scarlett O'Hara. Do you remember the Birdcage, the movie? Albert, who was in the Birdcage, he was played by Nathan Lane. Rodney Dangerfield in Caddyshack, Sigourney Weaver in Galaxy Quest, and Holly Hunter in Raising Arizona. George Costanza in Seinfeld could be considered histrionic. So, the bottom line is this. A histrionic personality disorder person is a person who feels that the world exists to serve their needs and who is entitled to do whatever it takes to get their needs met, and who does so in a childlike manner with impressionistic thinking, provocativeness, melodramatic exaggerations, and throwing fits to get their way and to make other people do things for them. So there you have it. Jussie Smollett, you histrionic little so-and-so you. You got what you deserved, honey, and you brought it on yourself. I am so, so sorry this has happened to you, would be my approach to Jussie Smollett in therapy. And he will have probably court-ordered therapy once he goes to jail. But you can rest assured that he probably won't really change so much. And he will continually see himself as a victim. So there we go. There's a Jussie Smollett drama for today. And I enjoyed sharing this information with you. If you want to know more about personality disorders, then you need to look up a guy named Greg Lester. The information that I got today, I have to give him credit. I took a course from him called Demystifying Personality Disorders, Clinical Skills for Working with Drama and Manipulation. So if you want to know more about drama and manipulation, Greg Lester and Alan Goodwin, PsyD, those two guys know everything there is to know about it. So seek them out and you will know more about personality disorders. So just the last thing to know about personality disorders is this. Personality disordered people don't voluntarily go to therapy. It is everybody around them, their workmates, their colleagues, their wives, their spouses, their husbands, their children that go to therapy as a result of having to interact with them, okay? So if you think somebody has a personality disorder, you can't say to them, hey, you need to go to therapy. You have to go to therapy because you have to get better at dealing with this person. And there are ways to get better at dealing with it. I deal with these people all the time who are in relationship with personality disordered people. So if you want to get better at dealing with somebody who makes you feel icky, makes you feel off, makes you feel kind of, I don't know, like your brain's turned to scrambled eggs after you've had a conversation with them or after you deal with them going through something in their lives. And you're thinking something's off about them, but maybe it's me. It's probably not you. So come on in and see me and we can talk about how to deal with these people better. Because you know what? Little secret here, they're not changing, but you can. you can deal with the way, you can change and you can improve the way that you deal with them. And it's actually pretty easy to do. So anyway, that's where we are with that. So personality disorders, very interesting. And Jussie will allow us comedic relief for quite a while from here on out. And I'm thankful for it. I hate that Jussie had to go through what he had to go through, but man, the comedy that we have gotten out of this has been very, very entertaining. So the entertainment value here. All right, so everybody have a great weekend. Everybody have a great week, and we'll see you on the flip side. Thank you so much for watching The Right Therapist.